Hello guys, in this video we're going to look at functions, but functions with proper return types. We looked at functions that have return types of void, but in this case we're going to look at functions that have different types of um, return types basically. In this example we're going to have a look at 3 different examples. Let me just comment this. So if you watched the previous video, you would have seen that the code is basically the same. What we have in here is the same. It's just that in this case now, we don't have a void return type, but we have a string return type. It means that whatever this function here is going to give us an output is a string. It is going to return a string. So we're still going to take in a parameter, just like we did in the previous previous video, I mean. And then our string, we equate it to nothing. It's an empty string. So it is still the same thing. It's just that now we have text. If whatever we put in here, if the name is Eminem, our text will be equated to Eminem is my favorite artist, and the song that I love the most is Stan. So it won't be an empty string anymore. Then once our condition is met here, and text has been given a certain string, which is this one has been given a certain string due to the if statement, that string is going to be returned. So once it is returned, as you can see here, of course we have to give our function the parameter name, and in this case it's rd. Once I've given it a name, it is going to return what? One of these strings here, based on whatever name I give the function as a parameter. As you can see, it should give us an alert telling us something based on what name I put here. So let us run this. F7 for compilation, and then F4. Let us get to our chart. As you can see, RD is my favorite artist, and the song that I love the most is Come and Go. So that is the first one. Let us go back to our thingy editor, and then let me change this to Sydney. So it is going to pass on Sydney as a parameter, and then it should print out that Sydney does not exist. But yeah, it should print out something within those lines. You have chosen an unknown name, so we don't have a song for you. Like I said, Sydney is not part of the names that I've given. Instead, since Sydney is not recognized here in any of these if statements, it will return what? You chose an incorrect name, so we don't have a song for you. I hope this makes sense, guys. Whatever you return here should be the return type that you place here, basically. So let me comment this out again, and we are going to look at our next example. Comment this, yes, and then comment this as well. Comment, yes. Now we are going to look at the next function, which is again similar to the second example we did in the previous video. So let me uncomment this. So we're still looking at, we're going to calculate the spread of a specific currency pair or asset. Yeah. Now the code is slightly different. Okay, yeah, we're still taking in ask and bid as our parameters, and then we still did the basic calculation of answer equals to ask minus bid, but now our return type is string, and string text is what we are going to return. As you can see here, answer is a double type, but I had to convert it to a string before I can concatenate it here. And then since this here is a string, we are going to return whatever value we get here. And then the way we call our function is, since it takes in parameters, undo, yes, and comment. As you can see, alert again, this here is our function. We are calling our function into the alert, And then it says, again, I explained this in the previous video. We are going to take a specific pair, and then we're going to take the ask price of that symbol. And then here we're going to take a specific pair and take the bid price, basically, which is which are doubles. We know that the bid and ask price are doubles. And then if we run this code right here, F7 for compilation, F4 for us to get back in there, you can see 2.4. And oh, it's on NASDAQ. Our EA is on NASDAQ. Why is that so? Okay, let me first check the name of this. We are looking at my first EA2. So my first EA2, yeah, it has been attached on NASDAQ. And then if we look at this 240, like again, it has been multiplied by a certain number for it to give us a nice, beautiful integer. But then again, let us attach it. Let me remove this. Let me attach it onto our Euro JPY chart. Yes. So let me attach it there, and then there we go. As you can see, Euro JPY, the spread should be 20. Okay, it's fluctuating between 20, as you can see. If we attach it again, basically reattaching it, okay, there is it. It's still 20. It's still fluctuating within that yeah, basically within that number. Okay, let us get back to our MT4 editor, and I'll comment these out again so that we can look at our last example. So with our last example, we are going to look at, again, a spread calculator. Again, the return type is a string, and then as you can see, we are still returning a text which is of type string, data type string. Now, as you can see, it is basically the same thing from the previous video. It's just that this one now has a return value, and I am returning a string, so I have to convert the spread. The spread is a double, so I had to convert that to a string before again I can concatenate. And then how do we call our function? This is how we call our function again. Alert function name. We just call our function because this one does not take in any parameter. And then if we press F7 to compile this, Euro JPY, the spread is 0.021, it should be 21. As you can see, it is fluctuating 20, 21, 22, 19. Then if we close this again, okay, let me remove it, Andrew. Oh, what am I doing, man? I am attaching the charts on itself. Okay, it should be here, yes. As you can see. But if we put this, if we call our function on tick, let us see what happens. Let me copy and paste this on the on tick. It should basically keep on giving us alerts as price changes or as the tick changes. Let me comment this one out again, and let me compile. F4, as you can see, as our tick price changes, it gives us the new spread, basically. So let me just remove this. Let me remove this, and there you have it. So you guys can see, as the price changes, the code is executed. So if I comment this out, and compile, F7, compiling, I changed it now, there's nothing should be there. So let us go back to our F4. So yes, guys, so you see how the onTick function works. As the ticks change, yeah, it was on NASDAQ, it was on NASDAQ. Where is NASDAQ? There you have it. As the tick was changing, our spread was also changing. It was printing out whatever our spread was in that moment. So that's how the onTick function works. So yes guys, I hope you understand why we have this, but let me go back there. I don't want it to appear on my NASDAQ chart. I want to make it appear on my Euro JPY. So first of all, I will do this and then I'll run it. It should constantly give us alerts on our Euro JPY once I attach it. Euro JPY, and then there we go. Voila. So you see, as the tick changes, we get new notifications. And then F4, let me comment this out, it's going to stop. F7, you see, it stopped. So as the tick changes, we get new notifications constantly. But yeah, I hope this whole thing makes sense, guys. I hope it makes sense. You can play around with this code here. You can play around with the code. Write your own as well, or you can edit it. You can, these different things. You can even make a calculator, a basic calculator. You can make a basic calculator, and yeah, play around with functions, guys, so you can understand how functions work basically. So yes guys, that is all for this video. I will see you guys in the next video.